YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week. We got top players playing lots of different interesting decks. We are in a Snake Eye Fire King meta, but hopefully the top 16 is mostly comprised of many other decks and not just Snake Eye Fire King. But by watching as much as you can, that greatly supports the video. Liking, commenting, subscribing. Thank you very much. Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Bullish Barrel Good, send for the deck the Rainbow Bridge, which will search our deck for any field spell plus a Crystal Beast. Come to us, Tortoise. Oh my gosh, the walls. We're not searching for a Tearlament field spell. We already have Sharon in the hand. Searching for the Glory of Horus. What is going on? We're going to Nibiru at the end of the main phase, just like that. Wiping up the field, not activating Maxi in response. Now I have a bunch of dead cards. Crime, dead. Sulliek, dead. Meta Noise, dead. Triple dead back row. And in the graveyard, we have no Fairy Tale Snow that I could see. Nope, damn. We just have Maxi and Ash Blossom. Which, if they shotgun normal summon the Arvata, now, what? One of them is going to get negated. We didn't activate the Maxi in draw phase to play around a potential normal summon Arvata. Not that you should against Snake Eye Fire King. That's quite rare. It is a one of. We're going to step into the back row. Our Divine Temple activating to grab a Poplar. Send it to the grave to summon our Diablo Star. Diablo Star on summon, triggering the Poplar being sent to the grave to set itself into the back row. This would be a way to stop yourself from being negated by a crime, by channeling blocking with the Poplar. We have Original Sinful. Original Sinful is going to be sending to the graveyard to come forth and summon. Nothing is the Ash Blossom negates. And we're not using Arvata to pop the Snake Eye Flame Burst to negate. Gia, what's going on? She's crying to go outside. Thank you. All right, great. Awesome. Maxi. So right when we wanted to negate with Arvata, there was no fire monster to destroy to negate the Maxi. We didn't want to negate the Ash because we had another play, and then we discarded our fire, and then we got Maxi, thus the Arvata no good. It looks like Arvata is just going to negate nothing. Poplar trigger after being added, special summoning, Arvata for nothing. That is wild. We have the Hida. We are taking the Maxi challenge, but Mudora, in response to the Hida, is going to be spinning back the fire in our own graveyard back in the deck, so you do not summon it to make an easy Promethean Princess. So what do? What do? We are going to further Shokan this up into a Promethean anyway. Now, you kind of need a monster on the opponent's side of the field to have an easy lethal. And by banishing the token does not come back. We're not going to be able to trigger our Promethean to pop a card in the opponent's field for that easy lethal damage. Generally, you need about four bodies on the field to be able to lethal with a body on the opponent's field, because you're going to make a Promethean with 3, and then the extra monster is going to be a fire that you're going to banish with Zealantis, then come back, then pop it plus the opponent's monster. So on an open field, though, instead of having 4 bodies for lethal, you now need 6 bodies, and we don't have enough bodies to do that. We have 5. This is the play of 5, so we don't have enough for open field lethal. We're going to be spinning back from the graveyard any other potential fire monsters you want to be summoning, but the Promethean Princess does not target. We're going to summon a Flame Burst in the deck, which may get us enough bodies for that lethal damage. Pushing to, oh, just like that. There you go. Not making Zealantis banish the field come back, just simply threw a giant Nibiru, a big Flame Burst, pushing the token into the back row, and we had no way to stop it. And thankfully, we didn't make any other plays with an open field, thus the Gamma would have been activatable, so very well done. So the open field lethal play with 6 monsters is going to be it's going to be 3 monsters of Promethean, and then you're making a Zealantis with it, and then you're going to have to make something like a Phoenix. Phoenix would be with the other 2 monsters, and the 5th monster would be the monster you pop with your Promethean Princess. So it'd be Promethean, Zealantis, plus the Phoenix, and then you have to, being co-linked with the Zealantis and Phoenix, pop one of your fire monsters to trigger your Raging Phoenix in the graveyard to come forth for game. But we didn't need to do that, so very well done. Good job. Let's hop into game 2. Starting off with the special summon Fenrir. This is why a lot of people want to be activating their Maxi in the draw phase to play around Fenrir. Diablo Star, also triple tactics talent. And now a normal summon Arvata is another reason to potentially want to shotgun your Maxi. We're going to be discarding Sharon by card cost, so it's not going to trigger to be fusion summoning. We have the King Sark, which will discard a card to send from the deck of Horus. Now, with the Ash Blossom and Fenrir, we're making a Baron de Floor. With the Baron de Floor, we think we are protected from Nibiru, but now we can Nibiru, negate with Baron de Floor, then negate with Effect Veiler, thus still lose the entire field. Making the Zombie Vampire. We are on summon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we may want to wipe this field up right here, right now, before they start triggering their mills. They filling up their graveyard with potentially a Fairy Tale Snow, getting the Kick Callus out. So is this when we Nibiru and use Veiler? Yes, it is when we do it. Nibiru, Veiler, negate. Just like that, mate. Losing the entire field, and what is Tier Limit left with? Nothing. They have nothing. They can't even use Super Poly. They have nothing to discard. Said Super Poly's no good. Oh my gosh. Damn. Wow. Can doggy lethal damage. With Bonfire, surely. And with the protection of Arvata to pop a Poplar, let's go. All right, come forth and summon, adding the original Sinful. Further linking this up into a Link Kiribo. We're going to equip from the back row, send from the back row to come forth and summon our Ponix. Ponix searching for the Fire King Sanctuary. Sanctuary set up the island, pop, search Garunix. Garunix is a +2 bodies in the field. And yeah. All right, Fire King Snake Eye. Nibiru is still good. You would think that if you're playing against Tearlament and you had side deck, you'd side out Nibiru because they should be making Rukalos within 5 summons or less. But in both duels, we were not able to make the Rukalos in time. Thus, we had to make other concessions through instead making a Baron de Floor, and the horse plays just made us play into Nibiru. Get ready, get ready. But my favorite decks are the ones that do play on your turn. I'm sorry, I guess I'm a toxic player. We're going to be summoning from the deck Aha Ray by equipping the Makanka Water, returning back our Ninja. We're going to use Tobari, activate the special summon from the hand, a Twilight Ninja Getsuga, just to use it to make a nice ult. Huh? Okay. Saryuja not with 4. Saryuja just with 3. So we do have the effect of special summon a monster from the hand. We didn't get to draw 4, return 3. I'd never have really seen Skull Dread Saryuja be summoned at 3. It would be much better to summon an Apollo USA, right? But we do get the effect of summoning from the hand, sure. Now Getsuga is going to be changing itself to defense to reborn 2 ninjas from the grave. Hanzo triggering again. On summon, search your deck for a ninja. We're gonna grab a Mitsu. Mitsu is here. We have the Makanko Dance, which will reborn a Makanko from the grave. We have our Ha-Ray being summoned again. Now making Cross Sheep. But Cross Sheep is not pointing anywhere, thus it will have no effect. We're just making room for a Renaud. Renaud's gonna add back a Makanko Water in the graveyard, come back to our hand. This duel is popping off. I have no idea where we're going with this. Further showconning, we're getting rid of the Saryuja, Cross Sheep, into now making the Apollo USA. Sure. Apollo with more steps. Now making Infernoble Knight Emperor Charles. Do I have to bring up on the website the top cards and the win rate? Win rate when summoned. Emperor Charles is there. 86% win rate when summoned. Thus, do we win the duel? And the win rate now goes up by a more 2%. In 88% if you summon the Emperor Charles the Great, which we just did. And what are our disruptions exactly? Am I able to even figure this out? We have a spell and trap card negates. We have a spell card negates. Could even negate Super Poly. Do we even have a way to equip onto it? A quick play equip? I think we do with the Xyz Armor plays. That will then trigger the effect to pop a card in the field. So through the Emperor Charles, we have about triple disruption. And then the Apollo USA is another triple disruption. We're up to 6. And then I think we would be able to non-target suck up a card, probably with the full Armored Xyz play. So I think we have 6 to 7 disruption to play through. Let's go. In Maxi. Let's go. Walls of the Imperial. We're going to use the Emperor Charles to negate. Now, we're actually forced to negate this whether we want to or not, because what's going to happen is the Angelic Ring is going to be forced to negate the effect and not the activation. Thus, it wouldn't really do much unless it does something on the activation of the card. So we do not want that to happen. We want to negate the activation, get rid of it, so the Angelic Ring will instead be used on another one. Okay. We're going to chain the armor, full armored Xyz in response to the walls of the Imperial Tomb to now Shokan into a Dark Knight Lancer. And this will waste the Angelic Ring. Angelic Ring is negating the effect, not the activation. We're now going to use the full armored Xyz to equip onto the Dark Knight, triggering the Emperor Charles to pop a card in the field. Very well done. So the spell and trap card negate's gone, the pop is gone. We have triple monster negate with the Poly USA still. We are going to just negate Havness, right? Easy negate. You activate, negate. 2 negates left. The Dark Knight Lancer, I don't think, is going to have any other real disruption, will they? Unless they have a way to equip. All right. Very well done. Infernoble, Ninja, Makanko. Let's go. Special summon Fenrir, normal summon our Ash Blossom, Shokan into Baron Deflor. Tearlemy Kashtira, banishing a Kashtira from the graveyard to come forth in special to mill 3 off the top of the deck. Not milling too well here. The Scream is okay, searching for a Sulliek, which is a permanent monster negate. We're popping the Sulliek with the Baron Deflor to grab a Sharon. Okay. Sharon, discard the Beast, draw a card, plus mill 3. Now, that mill is not so good. We're going to grab the Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. How do we get that in the grave? We randomly drew into it. Oh my gosh, that was not so good. You know, this is where Baron Deflor would have been good to pop it, but we already popped the Sulliek. So we have Lil Knight to reset the negate of Baron Deflor, and we do have a negate on Baron Deflor, so we have about double disruption. Okay, searching our deck with our Ohime. Sure. We're going to Makanko Ceremony, special summon the Ohime. Not negating with Baron Deflor, we're waiting. When do we negate? Send any Makanko card from the deck to the grave. Little Knight is going to banish herself plus the Ohime before that card is sent to the graveyard. Now, had we waited, a Rondo could have been sent to the grave, then the Ohime could have taken control of a monster on the field. So we just have Baron Deflor. Uh-oh, Water equipped onto Baron Deflor. Waiting for the activation of the effect of Water is the correct play. Otherwise, they could have another Water. Negate and destroy. What else? They have not committed to a normal summon yet, but now they have. Sublimination Knight is a 1-card double warrior into Isold. That's it. Now, Sladen. Get slaying. Show us the full combo with Isold. So we bait out all the disruptions, then make an Isold, then make exactly this play. Hanzo. Hanzo is the play. Hanzo is here to grab a Baku. Baku will special summon. We're going to recycle the Phoenix Gearblade from the graveyard. Surely we have lethal damage, right? Baku trigger. I think if we maxi, we probably would deck out at this point. We're going to return back the Iron Digger. Iron Digger could pop a card in the field. We're going to Shokan into Maizen. Maizen is here, equipping Iron Digger onto the Isold. Phoenix Gearblade onto the Isold. Wait, what? We're just attacking directly? Wait, what's going on? This is not game, right? This is not game. There's no way this is game. What happened? How is this game? What just happened? What is this? Each of your warriors can make a second attack. Both of them. At the end of the damage step, if the equipped monster attacked, then all your monsters can attack again more than once. Wow. And how can Isold attack directly? She's not a ninja. Well, Iron Digger turns you into a ninja. So you equip the Iron Digger onto it. It is treated as a ninja, and all ninjas, according to Maizen, can attack directly. Damn. Not even lethaling with the Makankos. Just Maizen for game. Very well done. 2-0. Sladen, thank you for showing us why you're in the top 16. Let's keep on going. Ariana is here on summon, searching for the clock. Clock will allow a newly set trap from the deck to be activatable right then and there. As we discard with the Torby to set that trap. It can be a newly set trap from the hand also. By getting the Coup Clock in the grave before activating the Torby, that will trigger the clock to reborn itself onto the field or add itself back to the hand. The Vision Resonator, when sent to the grave, will be adding a red Dragon Archfiend spell trap from your deck to your hand. We are summoning our clock. We're going to return the clock back with a big welcome as we summon an Ariane. Normally, Ariane is not played. Okay, Ariane's going to be drawing a card here. Torby will trigger because a monster left the field through a trap effect. Come forth and summon onto the field. Randomly drawing into a big welcome. We have the Soul Resonator adding a furniture card. What the heck? They are semi-limited, and the Resonators are a way to make them more consistent. Damn. Crimson Resonator searching for a Fiendish Golem, and then pass. Fiendish Golem, what does this card do again? It's gonna banish a monster at 2,000 more attack. Okay, so it is a form of disruption into another disruption, into an Ash Blossom, and let's go. Interesting field. We didn't use the extra deck at all. Air lift off on some. We're going to activate the clock to activate a newly set trap. We have Torby, which will be setting that newly set trap right here, right now. But now the Triple Tactics talent is activatable because you activate all these monster effects within the main phase. Clock will trigger to reborn or add back. We're going to add back to the hand. We're now waiting for them to make a play, which is going to be the Triple Tactics talent to take control of a monster. Taking the Ariane to now make a Nightmare Phoenix. Phoenix on summon, discard a card, pop a back row card. We're going to be flipping up our Welcome Labyrinth, chaining Emergency to it, chaining Ash Blossom to negate the Emergency, and then chaining Big Welcome, right? We're not using Big Welcome, even though it's targeted for destruction. And that's because I think this card has, if a card you control would be destroyed while you control a Red Dragon Archfiend or a Synchro that mentions that you could banish this card from the graveyard instead, or letting the Big Welcome die. Now, the Big why are we not activating the Big Welcome when we're activating to destroy it? He wants to use the second effect of Big Welcome is why that you think so. So we're just, by not activating Big Welcome, you could use the in-graveyard effect of Big Welcome to spin a card in the field back to the hand. Any card. Lovely is here. Come forth. And with the Big Welcome being sent to the grave, we're going to be able to spin anything back, which will trigger the Lovely to pop a card in the field or in the hand. We're going to use Fiendish Golem. Now, the Preventer does not have the quick effect to flip a monster face down if you do not control another Rescue Ace. We have the Lovely and the Ariana triggering. We're going to draw a card, pop a card, reborn the Torby, add back the Chandelier. Damn, that's a lot of pluses. So they lose a card, then you +4? Is this why people hate Labyrinth? Draw, and goodbye to your field spell. And as far as I know, there is no way to recycle your field spell that's in the grave or banished. Your banished cards can be recycled by the field spell, but once you lose the field spell, you're done. Damn. Now, did Resonator contribute to Labyrinth in a meaningful way? Having another search for the furniture card was pretty damn cool. Having the search for an extra form of disruption, I think, is pretty cool. I like playing Unchained with Labyrinth, so you get to have the Shavara set up the escape and also have the dog, the rage that could link off into an SP Little Knight's pretty cool. Let's go, let's go. Elf is here at the end of the main phase, reborning our Little Knight. It is untargetable. We're going to activate our emergency, summon for the deck, Preventer. Preventer, send Preventer to activate to reborn our Banished Lifter. Get ready for liftoff here. I'd say it's near impossible to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! If you don't have a friend, or you are not constantly using third-party tools to get you into Yu-Gi-Oh! For someone to just install the app with no friends, no other information, no websites, no tournament streams, and just play and get good at the game, it's likely not going to happen. Get poppin', Promethean Princess untargetable through the Sprite Elf, not that that's really important here. Big welcome, someone from the deck. We're going to use Little Knight to chainlink block the lady from being able to set a trap from the back row. And now the Little Knight is going to be tributed by Nibiru, thus banishing nothing. As we summon Nibiru, then return Nibiru back to our hand? Huh? What the? Summon, lovely, recycle back Nibiru to use again later. Now pop a card in the field. Chandelier trigger, come back to the hand. Imperm, negate the lovely mates. Negate. The Extinguish and Contain cannot be used. You have to have a Rescue Ace in the field. Let's go, let's go. Maybe, I think World of Warcraft has this mentor system, like a buddy system. Maybe if they create a mentor program in Master Duel where you could take on a buddy, and if you could get that buddy to gold rank, you get packs. If you can get them to platinum rank, you get even more packs. So that would be a pretty cool system, right? Some mentor system where you have to help out a new player and have them do well and win, without them just giving you their Steam details and then playing for them, of course. Fiendish Golem banishing the Nibiru token off of the field. Take the buddy account to take the pack. I feel like with the buddy system, like you see, we have all these good intentions for new players, and then a lot of you are like, oh, I'm gonna install a second account, buddy myself, and just get free packs. Like, you exploiters would ruin everything. All right, Ariana and Lovely Trigger, pop a card in the field, Chandelier, add back to the hand. Where's the Torby at? No Torby. Do we pop a card on the field or in the hand? We're going for that Fire Attacker, be gone. And we actually needed that Fire Attacker. 1-for-1 is not activatable. You have to discard a monster. And we also have Ash Blossom to now negate. Rescue Ace HQ, do we actually negate the field spell? Why not? It looks like they probably need it, which they definitely do. Their back row is dead. Their 1-for-1 is dead. They can't recycle their cards back nor draw. Damn. Labyrinth with another 2-0? I think so. Crimson Dragon adding back a Soul Resonator in the graveyard. Lovely's going to be activating to set back up a Fiendish Golem from the graveyard. Soul Resonator adding a Kuklock. Kuklock, discard, making a newly set trap activatable to turn it was set. Just like that, we do not have lethal damage. Really, Labyrinth? We do, we do. Lady from the graveyard, return back to the hand. Attack for game. Labyrinth Resonator taking a 2-0 victory. All right, all right. Bonfire, add from the deck, our Snake Eye Ash mates. Come to me, Poplar from the deck, Poplar trigger. We're gonna now hit him with the Max C, but cross out Designate will negate. We have negate, negate, negate. We got Max C mate. We have a way to summon the Garunix, which will be able to pop a card with our the Kirin. And then with the pop of the Kirin, we also have Promethean Princess. That's 5 pops. We're also going to have the ability to be reborning the Arbata for another negate. We have about 6 disruptions and possibly more. A lot of the disruptions are conditional because we could exceed the Fire King Sanctuary, but it's a big maybe. Poplar, negate. So we're not going to even count the disruption. There's too many conditional disruptions. And the Amblo is also popping a card in the field, so it's like 6 to 8 disruptions we may have here. Flameburge reborning the Masquerena to get ready to link into an SP Lil Knight, right? We already have our Apollo USA. Triple Tactics talent taking control of the Flameburge. To battle we go. We have the Link Haribo reducing the Poplar to 0. Flameburge big enough to wipe out the Apollo. We're now going to use the Flameburge to push the Amblo Whale into the back row. Masquerena is going to chain link into Little Knight. Little Knight is here on summon, banishing the Poplar off of the field. And now, like, what? Well, we just sent their Flameburge to the graveyard, which could reborn 2 level 1 fires, which will now be usable with the Promethean, which will then trigger the Garunix. Ponix, trigger, come forth Flameburge. Otherwise, we're pretty much screwed. How are we going to trigger the Garunix? Because we have no fire monsters. We couldn't trigger Garunix. We couldn't trigger the Promethean Princess. We pretty much gave them the play. Was this the only thing we could do? Oak Reborn, Ash Reborn. Now we're in trouble. Now if we special summon, they're going to pop off. Ponix adding a Skyburn for follow-up. Sanctuary setting up the field spell. We're going to Little Knight, chain banish the Ponix, thus we're forced to pop a card from the hand. Garunix will not trigger off of popping itself. And like, damn, this did not work out well. This was not good. Hida is here to steal a fire monster from the opponent's graveyard. We're going to Kirin pop Ponix, which will trigger the Garunix. Now Kirin could instead pop the Arbata. We're going to goodbye Ponix, pop Arvata, come forth and summon. Arvata trigger, but the Garunix is negated. So Garunix can't pop Kieran from the deck, so then pop a card in the field. What do? Oh no, we're activating it. Oh, bro, it's negated. This, we should just hop in the next duel. Honestly, let's go to the next one. This did not, we didn't really have a good turn 2. The turn 3 is also not going very well. And now if we actually trigger the Garunix, we used up its hard once per turn. Now we can't pop a Kieran for the deck to pop a card in the field. All right, game number 2, let's go. The mirror match could be really confusing. What to pop, what to summon, Heat of Steel from the graveyard. All right. Good job, Earl. Earl dropping Purrely to play Snake Eye Fire King. Bonfire, come to me, Ash, and the opponent has no hand traps whatsoever, so let's speed this up. We have no fire monster on the field to pop with the Kieran, but Kieran could pop the Alcanix or the Flameburge, which could then trigger the Garunix to Reborn, to then pop a Kieran, to then pop a card in the field. We have no Amblo Whale. Let's go. Wanted Seeker, come to us. Diablo Star. Sure. And I would say normally you should be activating the Wanted Seeker in the draw phase to play around a Droll, but when you have a triple tactics talent, you could be wanting your opponent to activate in the main phase to make this activatable. We have Diablo Star being negated. Negate with the Apollo USA. We can now triple tactics talent, take control of the Apollo or the Masquerena. Let's get to it. Take control of the Apollo. Thank you very much. We're now going to Kieran, pop Kieran, Kieran trigger, Reborn from the grave, pop a card in the field, taking out Masquerena. But we still have the Kieran pop Volcanics to Reborn from the grave, the Garunix. Now what else we have here? We have Arvata to negate the effect. I don't think so. You're not going to summon the Kieran, but did we correctly negate Kieran? I guess we, the Kieran in the grave is what we actually want to negate, right? We're activating the pop, reveal. Well, it pops on resolution, so this worked out. That's good. And we're popping the Flameburge anyway, so I was confused. The opponent, Earl GB, had Kieran and Kieran. This is activating the pop. Thus, by not allowing them to pop, they don't trigger Garunix, they don't trigger Kieran. They're done. They're actually done. That completely stopped everything. Okay, 7,500 damage, and that's enough for lethal because we heat sold. Lethal damage. No Kieran, pop, nothing like that. I think not ending on Amblo Whale is too risky, right? It's the problem with Snake Eye Fire King is there's so many different routes of what you could do to set up your end board, but each different route has different conditions for all of your disruptions. We technically ended on a ton of disruption, but if one bad thing were to happen, like a triple tactics talent, we now can't use Garunix. Our Kieran gets negated because everything was relying on the Kieran activation, which then got negated. So good job to both of you. Thank you, Earl GB and Daniel. Let's hop into another match. We are opening up with Rhino Heart, sending a Havnis. Now against Max C, you very simply make a Kit Cal, search for Sulliek, then end. We're keeping the Rhino on the field. Okay, Kit Cal is here. Draw one for that Max C. Adding the Sulliek, set Super Poly, and that's it. This is what made Tier Limit a really good deck against Max C. We have that permanent negate plus mill 5, which will likely turn into a form of disruption. Now the problem is, newly special summon Purrely could not be targeted by the Sulliek. So what do? They have to normal summon now. Justinian adding a My Friend Purrely with the special summon Lily. Super Poly. Using with our Kit Kalos is what I'm thinking we're doing here. Kit Cal in the Lily, so we can mill 5. We have Dragostapelia, which is another targeting effect. We cannot target special summon monsters. So what are we hoping to do? With Kit Cal, if we can mill a fusion trigger, it would have been able to make a Rukalos, which would negate a special summon effect like the Delicious. Hi, Penumbra. Appreciate you being here. Everyone that came from YouTube, thank you, thank you, thank you. Reveal 3, randomly add one of the 3 to our hand. If you reveal 3 of the same card, obviously it's not random. We're now using Delicious to summon a Purrely, which cannot be targeted by Dragostapelia nor the Sulliek. off the top of the deck, come to us another Happy. Purrely is going to exceed with our hand, making the Purrely Happiness, which has 4 attacks, 4 reductions, 4 searches, plus non-target, return that Sulliek back to the hand. Now, Rhinoheart is indestructible by battle, thus I believe this is lethal damage if we don't get Nibiru'd. And I think we're getting Nibiru'd. We're going to equip that Nibiru at the end of the main phase. Now, it is bad to get Nibiru'd, but if you're Purrely, it's not that bad because the field spell will summon another Purrely on the field, and the My Friend Purrely will add 3 different quick plays in the graveyard back to our hand. Let's go. We get Nibiru'd, we +4. Rhinoheart being sent to the grave by card effect will discard a tier card, reborn, send from the deck a fusion trigger, and then make a Kaleido Heart to spin a card in the field back into the deck, or make a Root Kalos to negate a special summon effect. Purrely Street, come forth, Purrely on summon, reveal 3, Rhino send from the deck. Now what are we doing here? Sulliek is also searching for a tier element from the deck to our hand. It could be a tier cash or a Hovness. It is a tier cash. Tier cash could summon Mill 3. We're sending Hovness here. Hovness trigger to be able to make a Root Cal to negate the Purrely from being able to exceed. Hovness trigger, return back the Rhino, and the Kick Cal to make a Kick Cal. Okay, Kick Cal was already returned back in the deck, so we could make the Root Kalos. We're now making tier cash. We're gonna search our deck plus Mill 3. Now, instead of searching, we could send to the grave. Send the Sheeran as we just did. By sending to the grave, we're gonna be able to fusion summon, also Mill 3. Let's go. Now, generally, you want to put your mill on the higher chain link so you have more of a choice with what you want to fuse with. We're going to fuse first, then mill. Root Cal with the ability to negate a special summon effect. Rainbow Bridge being sent to the grave, we'll be searching our deck for a field spell plus a Crystal Beast. And now with the Purrely, we can negate. Root Kalos, negate, and destroy. We could chain the Happy to make the Purrely indestructible, but it would still be negated. We're just going to let it die. Now, the tier cash being sent to the grave is going to mill 2. We're going to summon another Purrely. We're going to activate the effect again. And thus, we are out of disruption. Now, we're going to be making, by revealing the Delicious, to make a Purrely Plump. The Plump has the secret effect that a lot of people don't know about, to banish monsters off the field. By sucking up a quick play, we can non-target banish the Root Kalos or the Nibiru off the field, optionally. But we're choosing to not do so. We're gonna suck up from the graveyard a Pretty Memory. Now with Pretty Memory, we could suck up a monster on the field by sending it to the grave, which we just did, send the My Friend Purrely. Now making the X Purrely Nor. Ending the turn with 7 material, giving us now 8. We have 4 spins. We could spin the graveyard or the field, plus draw 2. Pot of Greed, and 4 spins. Drivers are not good. Pretty's okay. A hand trap though. We're gonna grab a Fenrir, which can't summon due to Nibiru. We have the tier limit field spell. We're gonna use one of our 4 spins to spin that back in the deck. You will not be searching for a tier. Not today. Normal summon our Crystal Beast Tortoise that is. Now making a Masquerena against Triple Disruption. During the end phase, spin the back row. End phase, equip another card from the graveyard or deck. You still have 2 spins. Purrely Leap, returning our Purrelys back in the deck. What else we have here? Pretty is here. Summon for the deck, our Lily. Lily searching for a regular Purrely. Masquerena has nothing to be able to link off with. It just like that, the power of Purrely taking a Game 1 victory over tier limit. Rhino, I played against Soul Release in the ladder. It was Sky Striker. They had triple Soul Release. They Soul Released my entire graveyard. Max C chaining to the Sharon. As we said, with our play, you very simply make your Kick Cal, search for Sulliek, and end. We already have the Sulliek. So will we affect, veil, or negate? But we still have it. We have it. We're fine. And this is why I don't like King Sark. Because if you're under Max C, it's now a completely dead card or just plays into Max C. And I also don't like I'm Seti getting Ash Blossom because that is a big minus. What do we have here? As long as they don't have the field spell, we can negate. We're going to chain Hovness. We could still negate it if we want to. Ash Blossom negating the Hovness from summoning and milling 3. Adding on top of that a Sulliek to negate the Purrely. No add, no exceeding with the hand. Send Kick Cow Mill 5. Let's go. Mill Sharon. Mill 5, Sharon is here. We also have the Purrely Kashtira milling an additional 2. Now, speaking of the side deck cards, a lot of people may be wanting to play cards like Skullmeister or playing Ghost Spell because of the Fire King cards. Well, if the opponent were to be playing Ghost Spell, the Sharon would be chain link blocked by the Purrely Kashtira, thus you cannot negate it. That draw very well could have been instead something like a Ghost Spell. We now have Root Kalos. Root Kalos with the ability to negate and affect a special summon. We're not going to be negating the quick play spell because they don't have to discard by cost. Reveal 3, come to me, Purrely Leap. Further Shokaning into an Anima, but we have nothing in the Anima column. Now making an SP Little Knight. We already used up our Sulliek. The Hovness can't chain to it. Root Kalos is now gone. We cannot attack directly, but do we really care? Off the top of the deck, guaranteeing a purely happy memory. We're going to summon for the deck a Lily. Lily is... did we activate a Delicious this turn? We did not. We did not make the Rhino Heart indestructible by battle. Further Shokaning into an E Purely Happiness. This only has multiple attacks onto a monster. If there's no monster, it cannot attack directly. We get thus only 1 search instead of 4. Main phase 2, we're going to equipping from the deck, come to us. I guess generally you'd be searching for a Purely Leap here, but we already used up our Leap. And how many leaps are played in Purely generally? Let's look up the analytics on that. It's called a Yeep, I call it Leap. Purely Yeep is being used at mostly at 2. So are you one of the few, or not few, but pretty much half are playing it at 1? So you may not have that second leap to be searching. Thus, we don't really have any forms of disruption. We're going to return Sulliek back to the hand, potentially. We may be doing that. Are we? Is that a good idea, though? Should we instead wait for them to activate Sulliek, then chain to the Sulliek by equipping, but then it could be chain link blocked by something like a Max C? Purely chain the Hovness to the Purely Leap. Return 3 Pureleys in the graveyard back into the deck, up to 3 that is. Come forth. Return it. And then Hovness is here on Summon Mill 3. Lily, come to me, Purely. We have Meta Noise, adding from the graveyard our Rhino Heart. We're now going to use Happiness to be grabbing our Lily. Should be drawing a card that is Sleepy. Standby phase, draw 1. King Sark, discard, send a horse card from the deck to the grave. We have Little Knight banishing our own Lily plus the Hovness in response to the activation of a card. And then we can summon our horses from the grave. Now, what's crazy about horses, if the opponent does not have Max C nor an Ash Blossom to stop the search of the horse, then the horse cards are absolutely nuts. Zombie Vampire milling 4 cards off of both players' decks, stealing the opponent's side frame driver. We have Scream being sent to the grave, triggering to grab a crime. To battle we go. We take no battle damage the first time we would. We don't want to take out the Happiness because it will trigger the field spell into my friend Purely. So Zeus is ideal. Zeus wiping up the field spell and the back row plus the monster, thus nothing is triggering here. Rhino sent from the deck a Sharon. We're going to return back into a Scoop. Nicely done for Tyr. All right, good job, Tyr. And also Purely doing well in this duel. Now, we are going to be opening up with a draw phase Sleepy Memory. This is why, if Purely is popular enough, you don't want to shotgun your Maxi in the draw phase. You instead want to use it in the standby phase for the hopes that a Purely player will open up with their Purely quick play in the draw phase before you Max C. Otherwise, they chain it to your Max C, which they're also doing in the draw phase to play around Droll and Lockbird. Make sense? Let's go. Lily is here. Come forth. Adding. You cannot draw this now. We're going to have Effect Veiler, Imperm, Monster Negate, and a Purely Leaped X Purely Nor, which will have 2 spins. So you have about 5 disruption is what we're going into. Nor, draw a card, did not draw no hand trap, did not draw no hand trap again. We're now going to leap the Nor into an X Purely Nor. We're going to draw an additional 2 cards, by the way. We drew in a hand trap, we have 6 disruption. Let's go. 6 disruption to play through. We're in big trouble. Do not ash the field spell. You ash the I'm SETI, because the I'm SETI has to discard a card in order to search. That is the ideal. We're turning back the Mudora. This is when we ash. 100% ash, eat that ash, but we have the finger to negate. So we have 5 more disruption left, where we could spin 2 cards. We have Veiler, we have Monster Negate, we have Imperm Negate. Let's go. I'm SETI going through, grabbing the King Sark. Now, on the activation of King Sark, you could spin it back. And also, the field spell counts as a King Sark in the field. And it is an inherent special summon. Maybe it's a better idea to wait for the I'm SETI to reborn, then spin it back, and not before. But we're going to spin back the I'm SETI early. Well, we played around a Fenrir. So by not waiting, the Fenrir will now not be able to respond to our Nor, returning a card back in the deck here. We have the beauty fully negating the Fenrir, not the effect, but the card itself. What the heck is going on in the chat? How'd you do that? Who else has the sudden urge to play Runic Horus and you like super highlighted your chat? What? What the? Fenrir, negate. Follow up with King Sark. We're going to discard a Mudora, and we're going to spin back that King Sark back in the deck, thus stopping the effect to send a Horus from the deck to the grave. No effect, MST negates. Now we have the field spell, but we still have Imperm in Veiler. Rhinoheart, we're just going to, simplified game state, we're just going to negate the Rhinoheart, not wait for the Kick Cow. Now, Kick Cow would be better, right? Well, the Kick Cow will trigger the field spell, which will pop a card in the field or pop the Kick Cow itself. So in this instance, where you have cards in the field that are poppable with the field spell, it could be okay to Veiler or Imperm the Rhino and not the Kick Cow. Talus World with 25 gifted subs. I am loving it. Thank you so much, Talus World. DLM, mine. 25, loving it. We're now making an SP Little Knight. Mudora's gonna spin cards back to trigger the field spell anyway. And now we get to pop a card in the field. Popping the My Friend Purrely. Get that out of here. Little Knight big enough to take out an E Purrely Beauty, making sure to take out the My Friend Purrely before doing so. But what do we have here? We have a form of we have one disruption. We actually do. We do have Keldo spin back, trigger the field spell. We actually don't. It has to spin back a Tearlament for the field spell to pop anything. So we have nothing. That's it. Just like that, Purrely taking out Tearlament. Divine Temple setting up the Ash. We're going to send to the graveyard to summon our Diablo Star. When are we imperming? We're going to imperm because we have double imperm. Imperm, negate that Diablo Star, negate. Now, I fear that we may be tricked into using imperm on Aponix when we already have the Fire King Island. No, we're not. I don't think so. We're going to double imperm the Oak, which the first and second effect are now negated. Very well done. We could follow up the Fire King Island. We could pop the Oak, search for Aponix, and let's go. Aponix is here. Aponix come forth and summon here. Trigger to add from the deck a Fire King Skyburn. Now ending our turn. Now, you could be thinking, logically, why not add Garunix? Think about it. Add Garunix, you trigger summon Garunix, then what? You just have Garunix. Garunix is only good if you have another Fire King to reborn with the Arvata you pop or with the Kirin you pop. Otherwise, it's not that good. Thus, we just have the Skyburn and Imperm as our only forms of disruption because of a double Imperm opener. Opening up at the bonfire, grab the Ash, which will be impermed. We got the finger, but you can't finger the impermanence. Well, we do have the Kirin to dodge the imperm also. So now we just have Skyburn, which, what are we gonna do? We can't Skyburn pop the Ash for a meaningful play. We're in big trouble. Now, is it a mistake to imperm Ash because of the possibility of the Kirin? Well, first, how do you know you're not playing against a pure Snake Eye deck and you're really not going to imperm the Ash against a pure Snake Eye? Of course you will, and you don't know if they're playing Fire King. And then even if you know you're playing against Fire King, imperming or Veilering onto the Snake Eye Ash, it's too good. You just have to take the risk. You got to do it. What else can you really do? You have to assume that essentially the Kirin's going to stop your imperm for the rest of the turn, even if you hold on to it. When do we pop with the Skyburn though? When? We could Skyburn pop Sanctuary on its activation, possibly. That may be a play. We have the Poplar equipping itself into the back row. Activate the original Sinful. into the Ponix. Ponix set up with the Sanctuary. And this is where we Skyburn. I think so. We're gonna make a Hida. Hida stealing a monster from the opponent's graveyard. Stealing the Oak is gonna be quite beneficial here. Uh-oh, this is not looking good for Mobile X. Ash is gonna send itself plus the Oak to summon for the deck of Flameburge. Flameburge could push a monster on the field into the back row. We're gonna push the Ponix back, forcing up the Skyburn to wipe out the Flameburge. Do we have 2 level 1 fires in the graveyard? I do believe so. Yes, indeed. Reborn from the grave with the Flameburge effect. Let's now speed this up. Sanctuary set up the island. Island, pop a Fire King, add Garunix. Garunix come forth and summon. Pop from the deck a Kirin. Reborn from the grave, pop a card in the field. Take out the field spell, wipe out the Diablo Star. Open field, 94, 50 damage on the field. Just like that, double impermanence to stop Snake Eye Fire King. And then we also had Kirin to stop my opponent's impermanence. Very well done. Bonfire eats up. How are we going to use our single imperm? And now we'll be making a Masquerena as we then end our turn. So to reborn the Arvata, we're gonna have to destroy one of our own cards, which will trigger the Garunix to summon, to then send, I should say pop a Kirin, to then reborn the Arvata to have a monster negate. But they have a finger, and they have a cross-out designator. When you're playing the mirror match, this becomes a lot more spicy. You can negate cards like Flamebirds, you can negate Garunix, you can negate Kirin, but it's also negating your own cards on your own turn as you're negating theirs. So what do? Volcanics is going to be negated by impermanence unless we cross out designate, negate the impermanence. That is exactly what we're doing here. Negate the imperm. Volcanics will pop a monster from the hand or on the field. We don't have another on the field though. Grabbing Kirin, which will trigger the Garunix. Garunix come forth and summon. Popping from the deck. We're gonna chain Kirin to non-target pop one of our monsters on the field here. As we also chain Masquerena to the Kirin to make a Little Knight. Okay. So Little Knight will be banishing something in the field here. We don't know what Kirin's popping yet. Pop in Garunix. As Garunix pops a Kirin, trigger the Kirin, trigger the Wolf, trigger the Little Knight. We're gonna banish the Garunix in the grave. Now by banishing the Garunix, the Kirin has nothing to summon, thus the Kirin, if it can't special summon a Fire King, it can't then destroy one card in the field. And there's only one other Fire King to summon, which is that Garunix. So we completely stop the Garunix with a well-timed Little Knight. Very well done. Ah, damn, just think about that. Chain summoning Little Knight in response to, it was a Garunix activating. So if Garunix activates and we chain summon a Little Knight, there is a possibility where you're turning off the Garunix, but you don't know what's in their hand. The Kirin could summon a Fire King from the hand, and that would be something that would then pop a card in the field. So that Little Knight completely turning off the Kirin by banishing the only available Fire King to summon, very well done. And maybe some of you are learning some better ways to maybe counter this deck. So, you know, it will be a bit of luck for your Little Knight to actually stop them from summoning something to then pop something, but it worked out. Huh? Normal summon Ash Blossom? Okay. I mean, when your opponent shows you that they are that desperate, yeah, we Ash in that original Sinful, mate. And Diablo Star is not even relevant extension. That's it. What are we going to set from the deck that's going to help us make a play? We have our Vata, which is another fear for your Max C. You may have to Max C in the draw phase to play around a normal summoned Arvata, even though they play just one. We have the Poplar, Chainlink blocking the Black Witch from potentially a Gamma. Set it up. Black Witch come to us, original Sinful, and are we going to play this optimally around the Nibiru? If we negate the Ash, we then potentially get Nibiru'd. Yes, so we are playing into Nibiru. We're on summon number 2. Let's go. Focus up, summon 3, summon 4, summon 5. I mean, this is a clean Nibiru, right? Clean. Wipe it up, Nothing triggers. Well, you know, the Ponyx will be triggering here, and they're going to have nothing to pop with the Ponyx, right? Ash is also triggering. I'm saying nothing triggers off of the Nibiru tributing the field. So wait for the resolutions, and then... So even better by waiting... So here's the issue. If you were to chain Nibiru to Ash activating, then Ash adds Poplar, Poplar triggers, and it summons. If you wait for Poplar to be added, Poplar can't trigger because there's not enough room on the field to summon. So wait for them to add Poplar, wait for Ponyx to add, and then you could wipe out the field afterward. Now, they do have a follow-up play, though. If you Nibiru right now, the Sanctuary could pop the Poplar, grab the Garunix, which could then make plays from there. But I think this is still probably the best Nibiru. Nibiru it up. They could have potentially made a 4-material Apollo USA, then made plays. Sanctuary set up, pop the Poplar, as we then grab a Garunix. Garunix come forth. We're going to have to pop a Kirin. Kirin could reborn the Arvata. Yep. Come forth, reborn Arvata, as I said, taking out the Nibiru. For the show, conning this up into Hida. Hida stealing a fire monster from the opponent's graveyard. That's a big deal. Then Promethean could reborn the Arvata. And then we could choose to make an Ambler Whale or just pass. Reborning Ash. Ash send the Sanctuary instead. Very well done. Come forth and summon a Flame Burst in the deck. We actually have game. It's turn 2, it's not turn 1. We go for game. Damn. Mobile X, very well done from you. Just like that, playing through an Ash and Nibiru, attacking for game. Torby gonna start this off, getting a big welcome into the graveyard by setting up a welcome labyrinth from the deck. We have big welcome plus we have big welcome and regular welcome and an Ice Dragon Prison. Ice Dragon Prison is incredible against Snake Eye, could banish the Flame Burst in the grave. We're gonna be searching for a Unicorn with that newly summoned Fenrir as the Bonfire searches for our Snake Eye Ash. Ash on summon, searching for the Poplar. Poplar trigger, summon itself onto the field. When do we whip out our welcome cards? When do we welcome our opponent into the dungeon? Now. We're gonna start off with a Welcome Labyrinth into a Lady. We're gonna chain Big Welcome and then activate Lady in response to it because they had nothing to chain to it to stop us from activating. We're gonna set up a Daruma. Now, the Fenrir cannot activate unless there's another monster that's targetable because the Lady cannot be targeted. Setting up that Daruma as we summon from the deck a Clock, add back the Clock. Fenrir is not activatable at all. We can now Daruma flip the whole field face down by discarding the Clock. Now, the Torby being summoned onto the field will make the Fenrir activatable, unfortunately. So come forward, Torby. And now we could Daruma the field, or we at least wait. Now we could just chain in response to the Fenrir trying to banish us, discard a card, then Daruma flip that field face down. But was this too preemptive? We're gonna follow up with the Diablo Star grabbing an original Sinful, thus continuing our plays, but we then have to play through an Ice Dragon Prison. Let's see how that works out. Because this was not enough to stop them. Clock is going to trigger, adding back to the hand. And yep, just like that, Diablo Star could send a face-down monster if you want to. Diablo Star, trigger the Poplar, set up with the original Sinful. We're not going to use the Ice Dragon Prison yet. We're waiting for a more beneficial time to use it. Now, the Flamebirds being a dragon makes it more difficult to banish with the Ice Dragon Prison. But with Pyros, maybe it's a good time to do so, right? In response to the Oak trying to reborn the Poplar, steal the Poplar with the Prison, then banish the Oak in the Poplar. Off the field you go. Be gone. Now we're going to set up with the Divine Temple into the back row. Our Flamebirds, we're activating to look at the opponent's hand. We know there's a Coup Clock there. We're turning it back in the deck, ending our turn as we're not big enough to take out the Lady Labyrinth. We got Phantasme, interesting. The Lady is completely untargetable and indestructible by card effect. You do want to Imperm, negate the Lady from setting up a trap from the deck. Definitely. Holy crap, is this a massive outplay? Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Oh, what could we have done? If we knew there was Imperm to negate the Welcome, we don't chain Lady. We wait for them to use the Imperm. And then if they don't Imperm, which they didn't, you would just get to resolve your Welcome Labyrinth. So there was an opportunity to outplay the Imperm, but instead the Imperm outplayed us. Damn. Negating the Lady and the Welcome. But we're going to outplay the outplay by chaining the big welcome in the graveyard to return back the lady. Thus, the imperm does not negate the column, does not negate the lady. We get the summon, we get the set, we get everything. Nope, we do it again. But this imperm is not negating the column. So welcome goes through, but the lady does not set. All right, let's go. Negate plus negate this column, return back, negate nothing, do not negate the column, summon from the deck. And Ariana. Ariana is here. We have Torby being triggered because a monster left the field through a trap effect. So does the Welcome Labyrinth to reset itself onto the field. But so does our Divine Temple to summon a monster from either player's back row. Come forth. Flame Burge it up as we search our deck, as we reset our Welcome. We still have a normal summon here if we want. Come to us the clock. Now the fear is, with a Torby on the field and access to Lady, that is a level 10 synchro into the Chaos Angel to banish the Flame Burge off the field. But we're not doing that, or maybe we will. We're not doing that. We don't want to Chaos Angel banish. Banishing the Flame Burge, I feel like would be a pretty good play. Now, what's cool about the Big Welcome is Big Welcome says you could use this card if you control a level 8 or higher Fiend. Thus, you don't have to have a level 8 or higher Labyrinth monster. You could have the Chaos Angel, which meets that requirement, being a level 10 Fiend and banishing the Flame Burge, and allows you to use the Big Welcome. But then you don't have the Welcome Chain Lady to the Welcome to set a new trap from the deck to then use the Coup Clock. So you do have to take that into consideration. Setting up a Daruma, which the clock will make it activatable. The Phantasme is activatable on the summon of a Link, which will be able to draw a card per Link +1, then return the additional cards back, then have the ability to negate an effect that would target. The Lovely is triggering. The Ariana is also triggering. Grabbing ourselves randomly drawn into a backjack, popping a card from the hand, popping the Flame Burge randomly. And there's no two level 1 fires to Reborn from the grave with the Flame Burge that has been randomly popped. This is pure Snake Eye. We had Poplar here on summon. We're going to just go into a Link Rebo. Poplar equipping itself into the back row. Phantasme is now triggering right here, right now. Come forth, special summon, draw cards equal to the number of Link monsters, then shuffle cards from your hand into the deck equal to the number of Link monsters they control. So draw 2, return 1. As we now link this up into Promethean Princess. You now can't target our cards because the Phantasme can negate. Ash add a Poplar mate. Now, does Phantasme negate the finger, or does it negate cards that target on the field only? Target a card that targets a monster you control, so only a monster you control on the field can you negate. We're going to send to summon a Flame Burge. We're going to further Shokan into a Raging Phoenix that will trigger the Flame Burge to Reborn from the graveyard. We're now going to further Shokan this up into a Zealantis. Isn't this activatable? Did we Coup Clock? Are we under the clock? We have not clocked yet. So clock, send, then send the Zealantis to the grave. We have to do it. Yes. We can't let... Uh-oh, we're getting fingered. This is massive. This is huge. Zealantis banish the field, trigger the Promethean, pop the card in the field. We're going to be able to pop 3 cards on the field, and then we're going to have Raging Phoenix to help attack. Is this lethal damage? Coup Clock, fingered, negate, and get ready for a massive Zealantis play. Right, we have nothing else to stop this. Zealantis, banish. Zealantis, reborn. All their monsters could go face down. You're now destroyable. You can't negate a target. You're face down, so you can't trigger off anything. Putting you into attack, Promethean, wiping out the Phantasme, come forth, Promethean. The Raging Phoenix is also triggering. We actually have game, right? This is it. We are going to battle phase, wipe out Lovely, wipe out the Lady, and then do we have lethal over the Ariana? Yes, we do. This is game. Set up the Welcome Labyrinth. The backjack is the only thing that could stop game. Why are we activating the, okay, we're resolving. We're not chaining the effect, right? If this card is sent to the grave, wait, we're activating, okay, we resolved it. We resolved it after looking at the top 3. Now we're gonna set a card from the deck, and that card, only that card will be activatable. What is it? A Trap Trick. Trap Trick could grab any trap from the deck, but can it grab Daruma? if we have 2 Darumas in the deck. We have a Daruma on the field and a Daruma in the grave, thus we can't grab Daruma. But we could grab a Dogmatica Punishment if we play 2. What are we grabbing? Bro, this is non-target pop. We could have lost our Trap Trick. You have nothing relevant to activate from the deck? Is this it? We can't Trap Trick? No Trap Trick. Lethal damage. What the? How did we lethal? That was crazy. Ain't no way we broke that Labyrinth field. You used all your traps. You had no relevant trap to set from the deck? That's crazy. Butler, set the Big Welcome from the hand, and then get ready to Big Welcome into nothing as the Ash Blossom negates. Now, do we summon Maxi or set it, then Big Welcome Maxi back to the hands, then activate it? No. Okay. I thought that would be quite interesting to maybe do something like that. Well, Phantasm may be enough to help us, in addition to Maxi. The Call of the Grave will finger the Maxi. Unicorn searching for a birth here. We're now going to Bonfire into Poplar. We're not committing to our normal summon here. Poplar, trigger, come forth and summon. Activate to grab an original Sinful Mate. Shokan this up into Nightmare Phoenix, forcing out the use of the Big Welcome Labyrinth. Big Welcome, summon from the deck. And we're going to be chaining Phantasme to also draw 2, return 1 back in the deck. Maybe drawing into more hand traps here. Not really. We're gonna be summoning our Stovey, return back to the hand, and let's get to it. The original Sinful, sending the field spell Kashtira to then be playing into a Maxi, but to then finger that Maxi, and the Phantasme cannot negate the finger because you're not fingering a card in the field. Negate. I think we're now screwed. Yeah, we just have Phantasme negate an effect that would target a card in the fields. We don't really have to target the field to make our plays. If Flamebears wanted to target a card in the field, now the Apollo can negate the Phantasme if they want to. It's just like, let me get out of here. It's single elimination. So this Mad Lad, instead of just letting them finish their game, nope. On the second duel, Scoop ran off, literally back to Fortnite. Onyx, come to me. Sanctuary. I do think it was messed up for Konami to hit something like Foolish Burial Goods because, you know, some rogue deck players really liked that in Lunalight and some other decks. And Foolish Burial Goods was not a pressing need to, sorry, we have to hit this card. I don't care if you're playing at rogue decks. It's such a small, weird hit that just randomly screws over so many other decks where it did not need to. If you're an Ultra Athlete player, you're thinking, what the hell? Why is my Foolish Burial Goods freaking limited? Come forth, Arvata. Send to the grave to come forth and summon Diablo Star. And this is where, in a way, as much as we all want to joke and hate on Duel Links, this is where the Duel Links ban list could be, in a way, a better way to run the game. Where if you limit to 1 Foolish Burial Goods, and then you have Kick Kalos also limited to 1, you now can only play 1 and not the other. And, you know, it would be better, let's say we put it at 3, okay? Foolish Burial Goods limited to 3, and then you have Kick Cal, Rhino, and Havnis all limited to 3. Or, you know, to be more fair, let's say Merly, Havnis, and Kick Cal to 3. So now you have to play 1 of each, which will total 3. Then you can't play Foolish Burial Goods. And then a deck like Lunalight and Ultra Athlete could play 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. So you hit the card so it can't be used in Tier Limit, which was your intent, and then the other decks could still use it because they don't play any other cards that are limited to 3. And that's how they would ideally do it in the TCG. Baron to 4, Borreload, and maybe on top of that, Apollo USA, limited to 3. So between the 3, you can only pick 1. Snake Eye will pick Apollo, and then the other decks that use Baron to 4, not the others, could use that. The other decks that use Borreload, not the others, could use that. I think that'd be a lot more healthy to balance the game and something they should definitely consider. All right, let's go. Original, Sinful, and it gives a lot more flexibility on restricting decks while not hurting others. All right, Spoils negated. Fenrir would probably be a card that would be a good option to possibly put at 3. And then, you know, some Mad Lad with the Super Rogue deck with nothing else at 3. Only they get to play 3 Fenrir to help out their deck, possibly. But, you know, maybe we're going a little too crazy with that. We have the Fire King Island. In response to the Fire King Island, attempting to pop a Fire King to search for a Garunix. We're going to negate. By popping it, mate, MST negates. Fire King Island then wipes out Volcanics. Volcanics then activates to summon a Garunix, but what can we do with that regular, old, dirty Garunix that has no good effect on summon? Let's hop to the next duel. Let's get to it. Let's do it. Osceola opening up with the Fire King Island. We have Kirin, which is not turning into any form of disruption. Nope. Let's go. We could pop Oak to summon Kirin to then trigger Ponix to summon if we would even want to do something like that. What the hell? Galaxy Eyes, Photon Lord, plus in Arvata, but there's no other fire monster to destroy with Arvata, thus we only have a negate with the Photon Lord mate. Bro, are you pure Fire King? What is this? I think you're pure Fire. Wait, did we see Snake Eye from Osceola in the first game we saw? What is this? I think we're looking at pure Fire King. We just Barong searched for a Kirin, so we do have a fire to pop. Let's freaking go. You have double monster negate plus Maxi and Droll. Chain the Droll. Droll. Negate. All right, all right. Is everyone playing the same deck? No, you must have come at a bad time because, in fact, Osceola I don't think is playing Snake Eye whatsoever. And we saw a lot of different decks also in addition to what you're seeing right here. You have Oak, Reborning, the Poplar, further Shokaning into Little Knight. Little Knight could Chainlink block the Photon Lord if the Poplar is not activated yet, which it has not. So you put Little Knight on Chainlink 1, Poplar on Chainlink 2, thus the Photon Lord and the Arvata can both not negate the Little Knight. Let's freaking go. And we're in a sticky situation here. They are targeting the field spell, which we can't stop it from getting banished. It's going to then wipe out our entire field after it gets banished. Oops. Photon Lord is negating the Poplar and not the Little Knight. Now, in Magic the Gathering, your negate could target the Chainlink. You could Chainlink 3, target, negate, Chainlink 1. Bunnish! Activate. Wipe the field. Garunix trigger, come forth, Arvata trigger, reborn the Kirin, and then the Garunix will destroy a third Kirin from the deck, which will then reborn the Arvata to have that monster negate ready again. What? We popped a Ponix instead? Why? We're waiting. We're gonna wait. We're gonna, instead of popping the Kirin now, we could Kirin pop Kirin at a more opportune moment. Sure, I could respect it. But they just pushed our Arvata in the back row. That's kind of annoying. Lame Burrs, reborn 2 level 1 fires, Ponix trigger, summon from the hand, search our deck for a Fire King spell or trap. Is Oak giant? Is Oak a giant physically? Like IRL, is Oak giant? I don't know. We're going to be Link Kariboing behind the Sunlight Wolf, adding back the Kirin in our graveyard. We cannot activate it for the rest of the turn to summon it. Further Shokaning into a Promethean Princess. And now, we're gonna pop our Kirin with Kirin, reborn a Fire King, to then pop the Promethean Princess. Barong because we don't have an Arvata. Pure Fire King plays. No Snake Eye, I think. Osceola, I forgot if you're playing Snake Eye. We do have Bonfire in the deck, though, so I'm a bit sussed out. Are you Bonfiring a Poplar? What else would you be Bonfiring for? We have Fire King Island being negated by the Ash Blossom. We do not have a negate for that. We're also going to add on top of that a Kirin. Kirin pop Ponix. Trigger our... We don't have Garunix. Okay, we want Promethean to pop Kirin. If the Promethean pops Kirin, then Kirin will pop another card in the field. That's the play. We do have some Snake Eye, but I think we have a more heavy influence into Fire King than Snake Eye. Hida is here, Promethean Princess, follow-up, pop the Kirin plus the Hida, reborn, trigger the Kirin, reborn from the grave. Do we have an Arvata in the graveyard? We do not, unfortunately. Thus, we're reborning a Ponix, popping the opposing Garunix, grabbing another Kieran from the deck. And we have Ash Blossom negating that Ponix from searching for a follow-up play. Not today. Now, what is Osceola going to do from here? Kieran, pop Kieran. Kieran trigger, reborn from the grave, pop a card in the field. Garunix, which you put in my graveyard, is also reborning itself back onto the field. Yeah, let's get out of here. We're out of here. I'm out. All right, let's go. Let's go. We have Ash. Ash, negate the second effect of Ash. Or negate the original Sinful. Let's see what we do. We're gonna link off into Link Karibo. Poplar trigger, equip itself into the back row, send itself. Ash, negate. Now, we could follow up with the original Sinful into either an Oak, or we could go into the Fire Kings. We're going into the Fire Kings. Fire King is the way. Come to me, Sanctuary. Set up the island, pop the Ponix, grab the Garunix, come forth and summon. Pop a card from the deck. Baron. So the other play was to pop Arvata, reborn Ponix, make a Hida steal the Ash, and then make a Promethean. Promethean could reborn the Snake Eye Ash, which could send the Sanctuary to summon a Flame Burst in the deck. You know, we had a lot more plays, but we did this instead. Baron. I don't know if I agree with that. Baron, standby phase, search our deck for a Kieran. Ponix, add back to the hand after being destroyed. Arvata, ready to negate a monster effect. You didn't shotgun your Maxi, we can now negate it. Diablo Star. We've seen so many shotgunned Arvata. Are we sure that people are just playing one Arvata? Because I've been seeing this normal summoned all freaking day. Imperm, negate Diablo Star. Now, as far as I know, we could not use Triple Tactics talent yet. Thank you, now I can. Arvata is going to negate the activation, not the effect of the Maxi. Okay, so we're gonna further link this up into Hida, thus we can't Triple Tactics talent because you didn't activate a monster effect, I negated it. Imperm negate the Hida. Oh boy, are we in trouble? Hida's gonna have to swing into Garunix. Oh, now I could use my Triple Tactics talent because now you activate a monster effect. Ponix. So if you Ash a Maxi, you could Triple Tactics talent. If you negate the activation of the Maxi, you can't Triple Tactics talent. Come to us, Skyburn. Thank you. And now we're going to take control and make some plays, where otherwise we were pretty much screwed. Making our Promethean. No one's playing around Triple Tactics talent. It's crazy, and it's been really popping off today. Something you should definitely consider playing. Is there a Triple Tactics bundle in the shop? I think so. You should at least have one. Poplar, come forth, grabbing the original Sinful. We're going to further link this up into a Link Karibo. Poplar, equip into the back row. Send ourselves in the back row and the Ash to summon a Flame Burst. We're going to push the Garunix into the back row. If you want to learn how to play the mirror match, that is really smart. Get their one of Garunix into the back row, and if they can't get it into the grave, they're in big trouble because they really need it. Whoever has the Garunix that's constantly activating on both turns, they're going to be the winner. Pop the Kieran, Kieran reborn, Arvata. We are going for lethal, actually. Just like that. How unnecessary is it for Sacred King Garunix to gain attack equal to half of what you destroy from the deck, which is how we had lethal. The monster is normally, what, 27? Gained an additional 1,200 attack. We had 8,700 damage, so minus 1,200, we didn't have lethal. Really, Konami? Thank you, YouTube, for watching the top 16. The full top 8 grand finale and top decks will be in the next video tomorrow. Thank you very much. Let's go.